Hello to all students. In this video lecture, we are going to discuss symbiosis and some its important types. First of all, we are going to look at the literal meaning of symbiosis. Sym mean together, bio mean life, and sys mean condition. It is a condition in which two or more than two different organisms belonging to different categories or different species live together. This relationship is called symbiosis. This relationship of symbiosis can be of different types. This relationship can be positive and also as well as it can be negative. And this relationship, there are two other types of symbiosis. One is known as obligatory symbiosis. If the two organisms, they must have to live together in either relationship as a symbionts, then this relationship is known as obligatory symbiosis. But if it is not necessary, the organism can live together as a symbionts and they can as well as live as a free life, then this relationship is known as facultative symbiosis. So there are different types of symbiosis and we are going to discuss one by one. So first example of symbiosis is known as parasitism. Parasitism is a type of relationship in which two different species, two different types of organisms live together, but this is a negative symbiotic type. In this type, there is one species which is known as host and the other species is known as parasite. Parasites live on the body of the host, get food and shelter from the host, and sometimes it may cause disease and may kill the host. So there are different types of host: primary host, intermediate host, definitive host. Usually some parasite have only single host, while some parasite have more than one types of host to complete their life cycle. For example, Plasmodium is a parasite. It completes its life cycle in two hosts. One is mosquito, Anopheles, and the other one is human beings. In the same way, tapeworm and roundworms, they have different types of hosts. Primary host, intermediate host, and the last one is known as definitive host, which is final host to complete the life cycle. In the same way, there are different types of parasites. There are ectoparasite. If, for example, parasite lives on the surface of the body of the host, like lice, ticks and mites, bedbugs, they are all ectoparasite. Endoparasite live inside the body of host, like tapeworm, roundworms, plasmodium, etc. Viruses, bacteria, they are all endoparasites. Viral parasite like coronavirus or some other kind of viruses. Phytovirus, as such virus which live on the body of the plant. Zoo parasites which live on the body of animals. Microbial parasites which are bacteria, and obligatory parasite which cannot live without a host. Those parasites are known as obligatory parasite. Facultative parasites are those parasites, if the host is available, they can live on the body of the host, and if the host is not available, they can live as a free living organism. There are full-time parasites, their whole life is live as a parasite, while there are some other parasites which only part-time or temporary parasitism, like a mosquito bites a human being, sucks the blood and then leaves away. In the same way, leech is a temporary parasite. Bacteria, viruses, roundworms, tapeworms are they are permanent parasites. There must be two different species of parasites to be parasitism. For example, if a baby of human being or baby of a mammals, they feed on the milk of their mother. So this is a kind of relationship in which same species have a same baby, and that is taking food and shelter from the mother, and this relationship is never known as a parasitism. There must be a two different species. There is also one more small relationship which is known as parasitism, parasitoidism. In this condition, in arthropod fly, which when there is a breeding season, lays egg on the surface of the caterpillar, and after that she dies. And when the larvae emerges from the eggs, they feed on the body of the caterpillar and kill the caterpillar, and they become adult after completing their life cycle. This is also a good example of parasitoidism. The second relationship we are going to discuss about symbiosis is known as mutualism. Mutualism is a positive symbiotic relationship in which two different types of organism or two same kind of organism, they live with each other and they provide protection to each other. This is a very good phenomena, and there are many different examples of it. For example, pollination by animals. Different animals help in the pollination, like honeybees, butterflies. They go to the flowers, they suck nectar to make honey and to get food, and at the same time flowers are helped by pollination. Their pollens are attached with the legs and the wings of the insects, and these insects help in the pollination of the flowers. So this is a mutualistic relationship between the arthropods and the flowers. Lichens is association between fungus and algae, in which condition algae prepare foods for the fungus, and while fungus protects the algal partner. In this way they live together, and this relationship is known as lichen, as you already know that. Mycorrhizae is also association between vascular plants, roots of vascular plant, and a fungus. Fungus hyphae penetrates deep into the soil, absorb nutrients from the soil and provide to the vascular plants, and in return gets starch or food from the tree or vascular plants. In the same way, there is also a relationship between termite and zooflagellate. Termite, as you know, that insects, arthropods, which feed on the wood which contains cellulose, but unfortunately termite cannot digest cellulose, so that their digestive system contain a zooflagellate known as trichonymphus, which produce an enzyme cellulase, which help in the digestion of the wood. And another thing is that in the gut of the zooflagellate there lives another bacterium which produces that enzyme. So this is a very complicated types of mutualistic relationship. The third example of the symbiosis is known as commensalism, in which one partner gets benefits while the other partner do not get any benefit, and nor it is harmed. So in this condition there are very few examples about it. So first example is epiphytes. Epiphytes is a condition when there is a small plant like bryophytes, like mosses. They grow on the larger plants like woody angiosperm, big trees, big gymnosperm. Sometimes their water and soil accumulate on their surface, where small plants grow on the body of the another plants. And so in this way small plant get the benefits, but the larger plants, they do not get benefit or not, they are harmed. In the same way, this relationship is, if the relationship is on the animal, this is known as epiphytes, and if it is on the animal, this is known as epizones. So there are some other example of epizooids. Epizoid is a condition between a sucker fish, remoras, which live on the surface of the larger fish, which is known as shark. Remoras, suckerfish, attach to the body of a shark, and when shark feed on the fish, when shark bite the smaller fishes, the particles of the food which move away from the mouth of the shark, they reach to the remoras and they feed on those particles. But attachment of the remoras on the body of the shark does not provide any harm or benefit to the shark. In the same way, there are different mollusca animals, arthropod animals, which live on the other larger animal like whales, blue whales, corals, and they live as a commensalism. They live as a commensals, and in that case one animal get the benefits while the other animal do not get any harm or benefit. The next condition or the next type of the symbiosis is known as predation. In this condition there are two organisms. One is known as predator, which attacks on the other animal, while the animal which is being attacked is known as prey. As there are also different categories of predators and prey. In the first category is herbivory. In this condition, animals which feed on the grasses, this is also a kind of predation. Carnivores are those animals which feed on other animal to get the meat or the flesh of the animals, like dogs, lions, etc. Insect parasitism. In this condition, some insects live as a predator, and they eat up other insects or other plants or other animals. Cannibalism is also a type of predation, but in this condition there is the same species is the predator and the same species is the prey. Sometimes maybe you have heard that the mother scorpion eats up its own babies, and the mother snake also eats up her own babies. So in this condition, if the same species eats up the same species, this is known as cannibalism. In the same way, carnivorous plants like pitcher plant, Venus flytrap, sundew, these are animals which are insectivorous plants. They feed on the insects. They have mechanism to catch and kill the prey and absorb the protein nutrients in those insects. Carnivorous fungus which inhabits soil, and it feeds on the nematodes which are present in the soil to fulfill their protein or nitrogen deficiency. The last and the final relationship of symbiosis is known as competition. So in this world there is a competition for resources between animals, between plants, between insects, between humans. This kind of competition is for food, water, light, nesting, space, mating, etc. So there could be a different type of competition. So if the competition is for a resource which is in short supply, then we call it a resource competition. Animals that fight for that resource to obtain it as soon as possible. But if the resource is not in short supply, but animals or the plants or the organism, they kill each other to obtain that particular type of resource, then it is known as interference type of competition. Interspecific competition is the competition between two different type of species, and intraspecific competition is the competition which is found between same species. This competition can be for food, water, mate, space, nesting, and etc. That's all for today. I hope it makes sense, and I'll see you in the next lecture. Until then, bye.